On the 10th of June 35 combat clashes occurred between the defense forces of Ukraine and the Russian occupiers. Source: Report of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Quote, "Over the past day, the Russian occupiers launched another missile and air strike against Ukraine, using 8 missiles, including 4 Iskander ground-launched cruise missiles, and 35 Iranian Shahed attack UAVs against military facilities and critical infrastructure. Air Defense Forces destroyed 2 cruise missiles and 20 Shahed attack UAVs. In addition, the enemy carried out 92 air strikes and fired from multiple launch rocket systems at the positions of our troops and settlements 45 times. Unfortunately, there were civilians killed and wounded, and private homes destroyed and damaged. The likelihood of missile and air strikes throughout Ukraine remains very high. The enemy continues to focus its main efforts on attempts to occupy Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts fully, and heavy fighting continues. Over the last day, 35 combat clashes occurred in this frontline area. Details: the situation on the Volyn and Polishcha fronts remained unchanged. On the Severshina and Slobozhanshina fronts, Russia deployed mortars and artillery to attack the settlements of Senkivka in Chernihiv Oblast, Novovasilivka, Seredyna Buda, Chuikivka, Kharkivka, Sosnivka, Stepik, Glika Pisarivka, Popivka and Dmitrivka in Sumy Oblast, as well as Yudi, Staritsha, Vovchansk, Budarki, Nestern and Mala Vovcha in Kharkiv Oblast. On the Kupiansk front, Russian forces conducted airstrikes near Kyslivka and Kotlyarivka. They deployed mortars and artillery to fire on Petro-Ivanivka, Novomlinsk, Zapadna, Mashutivka, Kyslivka and Tabevka in Kharkiv Oblast and Novosilivsky in Luhansk Oblast. On the Lyman front, Russian forces conducted unsuccessful offensive operations near Bilohorivka. The occupiers launched airstrikes in the vicinity of Nevsky, Yampolivka, Zarikny, Lyman, Spern, Vesel, Rozdalivka and Ry-Oleksandrivka. The settlements of Nevsky and Bilohorivka in Luhansk Oblast and Yampolivka, Torsky, Verkhnyokamyansk, Spern and Rozdalivka in Donetsk Oblast came under artillery fire. On the Bakhmut front, Russian forces conducted unsuccessful offensive actions toward the settlement of Bilahora. They launched airstrikes in the areas of Bilahora, Delivka and Teresk in Donetsk Oblast. Vashukivka, Orikovo-Vasilivka, Ivanovsky, Bilahora, Druzhba, Teresk, Zalyans and Pivnikny in Donetsk Oblast were affected by Russian artillery fire. On the Avdiivka front, Russian forces did not conduct any offensive operations. They launched airstrikes in the vicinity of Avdiivka and Nevelsky. The invaders deployed artillery to fire on Avdiivka, Vodian, Pervomaysk and Karlivka in Donetsk Oblast. On the Marinka front, Ukrainian defenders repelled all Russian assaults near the city of Marinka. Russian forces launched an airstrike near Krasnohorivka. They also shelled areas in and around Hostre, Maximilianivka, Marinka, Paramoha and Novomikhailivka in Donetsk Oblast. On the Shakhtarsk front, Russian forces conducted airstrikes near Prekostivka, Zolotaniva and Glika Novosilka. They also shelled Vuhledar in Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces are on the defensive on the Zaporizhia and Kherson fronts. They conducted airstrikes in the vicinity of Novopavlivka, Huliaipol and Orikhiv in Zaporizhia Oblast. The invaders deployed artillery to attack more than 20 cities, towns and villages, including Vremivka, Novosilka and Novopil in Donetsk Oblast, as well as Olhaivsky, Malinivka, Huliaipol, Zaliznikny, Bilahiria, Stepov and Kamyansk in Zaporizhia Oblast, Zolota Balka, Sadov in Kherson Oblast, and the city of Kherson. During the past 24 hours, Ukrainian aircraft carried out 16 airstrikes on areas where Russian military personnel were concentrated and hit 2 Russian anti-aircraft missile systems. Moreover, Ukrainian defenders destroyed 4 Russian reconnaissance UAVs of various types. In addition, Ukraine's rocket forces and artillery struck 2 command posts, 5 clusters of manpower, weapons and military equipment, an artillery unit at a firing position and 4 other important Russian targets over the course of the day. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on June 10 that Russia has lost 214,660 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion in February 2022, with an estimated 890 casualties on June 9. Ukraine's armed forces have touted an operation in which it said dozens of Russian soldiers were killed. Kyiv said on Friday that 3 days earlier, an effective fire attack by Ukrainian forces on a training camp where there was a concentration of militants had led to enemy losses of 56 personnel. The update did not specify the exact location of the purported Russian losses, but the statement was preceded by Kyiv saying that Chechen troops had been engaged in looting in the southwestern part of the Donetsk Oblast. The update, from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, also said that Russia had launched a total of 43 airstrikes and 79 strikes from rocket salvo systems and that the enemy continues to focus its main efforts on the Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marinka directions. Meanwhile, the governor of Poltava Oblast in central Ukraine, Dmytro Lunin, said on Saturday that Russian forces had launched an airstrike targeting the Mirhorod military airfield, using ballistic and cruise missiles, as well as drones, although the damage was limited. Ukraine's counteroffensive is reported to have started, although Kyiv has not made any official announcement about the widely anticipated push to recapture Russian-held territory. However, Kyiv has said it has made gains with Serhiy Cherevati, spokesperson for the eastern grouping of Ukraine's armed forces, saying on Saturday that Ukrainian troops had advanced up to nearly a mile in different sections, although did not specify where exactly. In televised comments, Cherevati also said that in the Bakhmut area, 138 Russian soldiers had been killed and 236 wounded over the previous day. He added that Moscow's forces were trying to counterattack but that they had not been successful and that there were heavy Russian troop casualties and destroyed military hardware. Newsweek has contacted the Russian Defense Ministry for comment. The Institute for the Study of War (ISW) said on Friday that Ukrainian forces had made further gains around Bakhmut and in western Donetsk and that counteroffensive operations were ongoing in at least 4 areas of the front. The think tank noted that Russian news sources had prematurely claimed that the counteroffensive has already failed, referring to damage sustained by Western-supplied equipment. Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the counteroffensive had begun but Ukrainian troops did not reach their aims in any area of combat. Separately, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made a surprise visit to Kyiv where he honored fallen Ukrainian soldiers and laid a wreath at a memorial site at St. Michael's Cathedral in the Ukrainian capital.